When my friend and colleague Cheryl Mattingly was doing this monumental piece of research on, it was a 10-year study of families with chronically and critically ill children, one of the things that surprised her was how deep and thoroughgoing the identification of many of these children were with Disney characters. And she realized that many of the more recent, and I mean, these were largely the Disney Pixar movies, not the Disney movies I grew up with, how many of them were constructible as wounded characters. You know, they're either like Buzz Lightyear, they're in a strange place from another planet, or like the Little Mermaid, they're dealing with a physical condition that they don't like, that children can identify with. A number of them are, these are stories of overcoming. I mean, the Quest story mythologically is a story of overcoming something which is ambiguously internal and external. And as much as the Disney films can be justifiably criticized as whitewashing other stories and revising them in ways that take out a lot of their fundamental grittiness, there's also a lot that they retain, and these children were identifying with that. And many of them had literally made over their whole living space in costumes, sheets. I mean, one thing Disney does is merchandising. If you want to do your whole house as the Little Mermaid, they can give you Little Mermaid everythings. So she found that that's what these children had done. What interests me about that is the human capacity to take narratives that we find and adapt them according to our needs. The word that Cheryl uses for that, which is from another anthropologist, is indigenization. So what anthropologists are talking about is where the people who are indigenous to a certain area find stuff that's been left by settlers, colonialists, whoever, and they adapt it to their own purposes. They make it theirs in some particular way. They give it their own use and their own aesthetic. And that's what humans do with stories. We take a story that can come to us from a mass media source, and we find in it what we need. And these children are really brilliant. I mean, their artfulness deserves our most extreme admiration for their ability to take commercially generalized stories and understand these as resources for making sense of their own lives. In the afterword to the new edition of The Wounded Storyteller, I talk about these as borrowed stories, because these are kids who don't have a lot of narrative resources. They just haven't heard a lot of other stories, and as I said earlier, we're able to tell stories because we know certain stories and we can recombine parts of them to generate new ones. Stories beget other stories, and in the absence of other stories, there's chaos. So children who don't have a lot of other stories as narrative resources are able to use stories that we could readily dismiss as simply commercial in a pejorative sense, and make these, you know, viable analogs in which to process things that they're going through, and find terms of identification with these cartoon heroes that are immensely meaningful to them, and that gives you a great deal of faith in the future of the human project. As long as we can do that, you know, we're all right.